The great hall of Varith was unlike anything Captain Marcus Hale had ever seen. The ceiling arched so high that it seemed to vanish into crystal light. Pillars carved from living stone pulsed faintly with color, almost as though the building itself breathed. Hundreds of variants filled the room, their shimmering forms standing tall and regal, their crystalline skin reflecting light in hues of silver, violet and blue. Marcus felt small in comparison, though he tried not to show it. He was a diplomat from Earth, sent here with a mission to secure peaceful trade relations between humanity and the proud people of Varith. Humanity had come far, but compared to many galactic powers, Earth was still new on the stage. One mistake could close doors for decades. He adjusted his uniform jacket and tried to appear calm. Behind his calm exterior, however, his thoughts raced. He had faced pressure before, negotiating with traders on asteroid colonies, speaking before Earth's United Council. But nothing quite like this. Here, one wrong word could offend an entire civilization. At the center of the hall, on a raised platform of glowing stone, stood Princess Serenia. She was tall even by Varian standards, her crystal-like features gleaming with inner light. Unlike the others whose colors were muted, her body refracted brilliant shades of azure and violet. Her presence was commanding, yet her voice, when she spoke, was smooth and melodic. "Captain Marcus Hale of Earth," Serenia said, her words translated by hovering spheres of light. "You stand before the court of Varith. Your people seek trade. They seek recognition. Tell us, why should the Varians welcome you?" All eyes turned to Marcus. His throat felt dry. He cleared it quickly. "Your Highness," he began, trying to keep his voice steady. "Earth may be young among the stars, but we bring with us resilience, creativity, and friendship. We do not come with conquest. We come with open hands. Humanity has always sought to learn, to share, and to build. We believe both our peoples would be stronger together." The hall echoed with faint murmurs. Some Varians tilted their heads, their crystalline bodies catching the light. Serenia studied him with piercing eyes. "You speak boldly," she said, "but words are easy. Promises can shatter." Marcus nodded. "That's true. But actions matter more. Give us a chance and we'll prove it." For a moment, silence stretched across the chamber. Marcus felt sweat on his back. He wished desperately for a sip of water. Then, to his surprise, Serenia's lips curved in something that might almost be called a smile. "You are honest," she said softly. "That is rare." Marcus let out the breath he had been holding. Perhaps he was making progress. Perhaps, but then one of the Varian nobles stepped forward. Tall, sharp-edged, his colors glimmering like polished steel. His voice was colder than the others. "This human speaks of promises, but what binds him to truth? On Varith, words are sacred. Words are vows. Without weight behind them, they are meaningless. Can a human understand this?" The noble's challenge carried across the chamber. Marcus could feel the tension rise. Every instinct told him to stay calm, stay careful. Yet in moments like these, Marcus had another instinct, one that had gotten him into trouble before. Humor. Sometimes, when pressure was highest, a joke slipped out. He didn't always plan it, but it was how he coped. He smiled faintly and spread his hands. "Well," he said lightly, "where I come from, we also take words seriously. For example, if I looked at the princess and said, 'You'd make a fine wife,' that would be quite a promise, wouldn't it?" A ripple of sound moved through the court. Some Varians gasped, others flickered with sudden light. Marcus realized instantly he might have said something foolish. He had meant it as humor, a light-hearted way to diffuse the tension. On Earth, it would have been nothing more than a compliment, a joke to cut the weight of the moment. But here, the air grew still. Serenia's luminous eyes locked on his. She tilted her head, her colors shifting in deep, slow patterns. "You speak of me," she said clearly. "You offer a vow before my people." Marcus opened his mouth quickly. No, I was just—" But she raised her hand, silencing him. Her gaze was steady, unwavering. "I accept." The words rang through the hall like crystal bells. The Varian court erupted. Voices rose in shock. Crystalline bodies flashed with bursts of color. Some shouted in protest, others in wonder. Marcus stood frozen, his heart pounding in his chest. Had he heard correctly? "I what?" Marcus stammered. "I accept your vow," Serenia said again, louder this time, her voice carrying across the hall. "Before the court of Varith, before the spirits of our ancestors, I accept the human's words. He has chosen me. I accept, Marcus felt his knees go weak. Chosen? Vow? This wasn't a joke to them, it was binding. He looked around desperately, but the hall spun with sound and light. The steel-colored noble shouted angrily, his crystal edges flaring with sharp gleams. This cannot be allowed. A human cannot bind himself to our princess. But Serenia lifted her hand once more and the chamber fell silent. It is allowed, she declared. The vow was spoken. The vow is mine to claim. And I claim it. Marcus's mouth went dry. He wanted to protest, to explain it was only humor, but he saw the way the court watched him. If he denied it now, would that insult their traditions? Would it spark outrage? He wasn't sure what was worse, being tied to a princess by accident or offending an entire civilization. As his thoughts swirled, Serenia stepped down from her platform. She moved with grace, her crystalline form glowing faintly as she approached. When she stopped in front of him, she stood close enough that he could see the fine patterns within her crystal skin, like stars trapped in glass. You have spoken, she said softly, so only he could hear. Do not fear. You will understand in time. Marcus swallowed hard. He had come here to negotiate trade, to represent Earth with dignity and care. Instead, with one careless joke, he had just become engaged, at least in the eyes of an alien civilization, to their princess. He forced a weak smile, though his stomach churned. Well, he muttered under his breath. This is going to be interesting. The hall did not calm for a long time. After Princess Serenia spoke her acceptance, the Varian nobles broke into waves of sound and flashing colors. Their crystalline bodies pulsed with sharp hues, voices overlapping like shattering glass. To Marcus, it sounded less like conversation and more like an argument ready to explode. He stood in the middle of it all, heart racing, trying not to panic. His translator earpiece struggled to keep up, spitting out fragments of phrases. Unthinkable. Sacred vow. Outsider cannot. The noble who had challenged him earlier, the one with steel-gray edges and sharp ridges across his shoulders, stepped forward again. His body flared with harsh white light. Princess Serenia, he said, voice like breaking stone. This cannot be honored. A human cannot bind himself to you. It defies our traditions. Serenia turned to him, calm but unyielding. The vow was spoken. Before witnesses. Before the court. Our traditions state clearly, once words are given, they are binding. The noble's colors flickered angrily. He spoke in jest. Do you not see this? He did not know the weight of his words. Marcus felt heat rise in his face. He wanted to shout that it was just a joke, that he hadn't meant it, but every instinct told him to stay quiet. One wrong word could make everything worse. Serenia's gaze swept over the hall. Whether spoken in jest or in sincerity, words spoken in this chamber carry the same power. The human has bound himself. I accept. The hall rumbled with fresh protests. Some nobles glowed in outrage, others in confusion, but a few, Marcus noticed, flashed colors that seemed almost approving. He wished desperately for someone from Earth's diplomatic corps to step in and save him, but he was the only human here. He alone had to deal with the storm he had created. After the court session finally ended, Marcus was led away by two attendants. They guided him through long crystal corridors that seemed alive with soft light. Every step echoed faintly, making him feel like the whole palace was listening. He was brought to a quiet chamber overlooking Varith's skies. Beyond the window stretched towers of glowing stone, rising above a sea of shifting colors. The world itself looked unreal, like a dream carved from gems. Serenia entered soon after. The attendants bowed deeply and left, leaving Marcus alone with her. For a long moment she simply stood across from him, studying him in silence. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, unsure what to say. Finally he cleared his throat. Your Highness, he began, about what happened in the hall. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Her head tilted slightly, catching the light. You deny your words? Marcus held up his hands quickly. No, well, yes, but where I come from, it was only a joke, a way to ease the tension. On Earth, saying something like that doesn't mean marriage. It's just humor. Serenia was quiet for a long moment. Then she stepped closer, her crystal features gleaming faintly. On Varith, words are never only words. Every vow is sacred. Every promise binds the soul. To speak carelessly is dangerous. Marcus swallowed hard. I see that now. But if I tell them it was a mistake, if I say I didn't mean it, what happens then? Serenya's colors shifted, deep violet mixed with silver. Then you dishonor the court. You dishonor me, and you dishonor your own people. To break a vow spoken in this hall is an insult that cannot be forgotten. Marcus felt his stomach sink. He had walked straight into a trap of his own making. A single careless sentence had tied him to a vow that could not be undone without sparking outrage. He rubbed his forehead. So my choices are, pretend this is real, or risk starting a diplomatic disaster. Serenya's voice was calm, but there was something sharp beneath it. Not pretend. Live it, accept it. Words have power because they shape what is real. If you choose the vow, it will not be a mask. It will be truth. Marcus let out a long breath and turned toward the window. Outside, the alien city glittered under shifting skies. Humanity's place among the stars was fragile, uncertain. Every new contact was a risk. And now, because of one misplaced joke, he was tied to the heir of an alien throne. I didn't come here for this, he muttered. No, Serenya agreed softly, but perhaps you came here for more than you knew. The next day, Marcus was summoned again to the court. Word had spread quickly through Vayrith. When he entered the hall, the atmosphere was electric. Nobles watched him with eyes like faceted gems, whispering among themselves. Serenya stood beside him at the center. The steel-colored noble glared at Marcus with open hostility. Let it be recorded, Serenya declared, that the human captain has spoken a vow, and I, Serenya of Vayrith, have accepted. Let the court acknowledge this union. A wave of colors rippled across the chamber, some in agreement, others in outrage. The steel noble stepped forward again. This union will weaken us. The humans are young, untested. To bind yourself to him dishonors your line. Serenya's gaze hardened, or it strengthens us. The humans bring resilience, creativity, and a will to survive. I choose to see strength, not weakness. Marcus stood stiffly, unsure if he should say anything. Part of him wanted to shout that it was all a mistake, but another part, the part that thought of Earth's fragile standing in galactic politics, told him to hold his tongue. He realized something else, too. The court wasn't just debating him. They were debating what humanity represented, weakness or potential strength. His words and actions from now on would shape how they saw his entire species. That night, Marcus returned to his chamber, exhausted. He stared at the alien sky for a long time, replaying every moment in his head. He could still hear Serenya's clear voice declaring, I accept. He wondered what his fellow humans back home would say if they knew. Some would laugh. Some would panic. The United Council would probably have a dozen meetings about it, but for now it was his burden to carry. There was a soft sound, and Serenya entered once again. She stood by the window with him, her crystalline form reflecting starlight. You are troubled, she said. Marcus gave a weak laugh. That obvious, huh? You fear what comes next, she said. That is natural, but you are stronger than you believe. I saw it in your eyes when you spoke in the court. You did not bow. You did not beg. You stood. That is why I accepted. Marcus turned to look at her. You really think this union can work? Between a human and a Varian? Her colors glowed softly. If words can bind us, then actions can prove us. You will see. Marcus didn't know what to say. He felt trapped, yet also strangely challenged. Maybe even curious. One thing was certain. His mission on Vayrith had changed forever. What began as a joke was now a vow that could shape the future of two worlds. The days after the vow were heavy with tension. Every step Marcus took inside the Crystal Palace seemed to echo with whispers. Varian nobles watched him with cold eyes, their colors shifting in patterns he could not always read. Some seemed amused, others angry, but none ignored him. For Marcus, it felt like living under a microscope. Every movement, every word he spoke was studied and weighed. Humanity's reputation, fragile and new among the stars, balanced on his shoulders. Princess Serenya, however, remained calm. She carried herself with quiet strength, her crystal body glowing faintly in the palace light. When she walked beside Marcus, the whispers lessened. Her presence protected him more than he realized. Still, Marcus could not shake the question that burned in his mind. Why had she accepted so easily? One morning, Serenya summoned Marcus to the palace gardens. Unlike the glittering halls, the gardens were full of strange living plants. Their leaves shimmered with silver edges, and their flowers opened and closed in rhythm with the faint hum of the ground. Serenya stood by a pool of clear water, her reflection scattered by ripples. Marcus joined her, feeling awkward in the silence. "You asked me before," she said suddenly, "why I accepted your words?" Marcus looked at her carefully. "Yes, I still don't understand." "You could have laughed it off. You could have said no." Her colors deepened to a calm blue. "Many in my court doubt me. They whisper that I lack strength to rule after my father. They look for excuses to weaken me. When you spoke your vow, even in jest, I saw an opportunity. To reject it would have shown fear. To accept it showed that I stand unshaken, even when fate delivers the unexpected." Marcus blinked. "So, I was useful to you?" A faint smile touched her lips. "More than useful. You surprised them. No one expected a human to stand boldly in our court. No one expected me to accept. It unsettled them." Marcus crossed his arms. "I see. So now I'm part of your plan." "Perhaps," Serenia said softly. "But not only that. You interest me, Marcus Hale. Humans are unpredictable. That is rare among my people." Marcus wasn't sure how to respond. He decided to change the subject. "And what about the steel-colored noble? The one who keeps glaring at me like he wants me thrown off a cliff?" Serenia's colors darkened. "Lord Kale, he is powerful, ambitious. He has long sought reasons to challenge my claim. Your presence gives him another excuse." Marcus frowned. "So I've made your life harder." "Or stronger," Serenia said. "We shall see." Over the next week, Serenia began to involve Marcus in her daily duties. He sat beside her during meetings, watched her listen to disputes among the nobles, and even gave small suggestions when asked. At first, he felt out of place. What did a human know about Varian law or politics? But sometimes his outsider's view offered solutions no one else had considered. When two nobles argued over trade routes, Marcus suggested sharing patrol duties instead of competing. To his surprise, Serenia backed his idea and the nobles agreed reluctantly. "You see," she whispered later, "your human way of seeing problems differently has power here." Marcus was not sure if he believed her, but he felt a spark of pride nonetheless. One night, Marcus could not sleep. The palace was quiet, the corridors lit by faint glows in the crystal walls. He decided to walk. As he passed one of the side halls, he noticed movement, two nobles speaking in hushed tones. He slowed his steps, listening carefully. His translator caught fragments of their words. "Cannot allow her reign to continue. The human makes her appear strong. We must act before the council binds them further." Marcus's chest tightened. They were plotting. Against Serenia. Against him. He stepped back silently, careful not to reveal himself. When the voices faded, he hurried back to his chamber, his thoughts racing. The next morning he told Serenia everything. Her colors darkened sharply, like storm clouds. "I feared this," she said. "Lord Kale gathers allies. They would use you as a weapon against me. Claim that humans twist my will, that I am unfit to rule." Marcus clenched his fists. "So they'll try to blame humanity for their own power grab." Serenia nodded. "Yes, if they succeed, your people will be cast as deceivers and I will lose everything." Marcus paced the chamber. "Then we can't let that happen. On Earth, we've dealt with politics, betrayal, even coups. It's never easy, but there's always a way to fight back." Serenia's gaze fixed on him. "You would stand with me even when you did not mean the vow you spoke?" Marcus stopped and looked at her. "I may not have meant the words at first, but now I won't let them use me to destroy you. That's not who humans are. If I'm tied to this, I'll see it through." For the first time, Serenia's colors brightened in a warm glow. Then perhaps fate chose well. The days that followed were filled with quiet tension. Marcus and Serenia began working closely, planning how to counter Kale's schemes. Serenia taught him more about Varian traditions, while Marcus shared strategies humans used in the past, alliances, transparency, and sometimes even trickery. They became more comfortable in each other's presence. Marcus found that Serenia's calm voice eased his nerves, while his humor sometimes drew faint smiles from her even in dark moments. One evening, as they studied star charts in her chamber, Marcus leaned back and sighed. "You know, on Earth, when people talk about marriage, they think about family dinners, holidays, maybe a small house. Not interstellar politics and coups." Serenia tilted her head. "Do you regret your words more now?" Marcus looked at her seriously. "No, not anymore. If I hadn't said them, I wouldn't be standing here. And maybe you'd be fighting this battle alone." Serenia was quiet, her colors glowing softly. You are strange, Marcus Hale. But perhaps that is what makes you strong. The breaking point came during another court assembly. Lord Kael stood before the nobles, his crystal body flashing with sharp light. This so-called union is a trick, he declared. The human seeks to place himself in our line of power. Serenia allows it because she is weak. If we do not act, our throne will fall under foreign hands. The hall stirred with uneasy murmurs. Marcus felt anger boil inside him. He stepped forward before Serenia could answer. His voice was steady, though his heart pounded. I didn't come here to take anything from you, he said. I didn't come here to steal a throne or break traditions. Humanity came here to build trust, to make allies, to share strength. If you think I'm here to weaken Serenia, you don't understand humans at all. Kael's eyes narrowed, but Marcus pressed on. On Earth, we've faced stronger enemies than ourselves. We've survived against odds that should have crushed us. And we did it by standing together. That's what I see here with Serenia. Together we're stronger than apart. The court grew quiet. For once no one spoke. Serenia's colors glowed brightly, proud and unshaken. But Kael's silence was not surrender. Marcus could see the fury burning in him. This was only the beginning. That night, Serenia met Marcus in the quiet of the gardens. The alien sky glimmered above them, stars dancing in shifting waves. You spoke with courage, she told him. The court listens differently now. Some doubt Kael more. Some see your strength. Marcus gave a small shrug. On Earth, we call that buying time. He's not done yet. No, Serenia agreed. He will move soon. And when he does, we must be ready. Marcus looked at her, feeling the weight of the vow stronger than ever. What had started as a careless joke was now a bond forged in fire. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of Serenia's fight, and he would not let her stand alone. The summit was meant to be a symbol of peace. Delegates from several alien civilizations had gathered in the shining halls of Vareth. The great chamber was filled with banners of crystal light, each color representing a different world. Serenia stood tall at the center, her colors glowing with authority, while Marcus stood just behind her, dressed in formal human attire. It should have been a moment of unity. Instead, it became the stage for betrayal. Marcus noticed it first. The guards along the walls, Varian soldiers who normally stood with calm discipline, shifted restlessly. Their colors flickered too sharply, their stances too tense. It was not the normal posture of loyal soldiers. He leaned closer to Serenia. Something's wrong, he whispered. Before she could answer, a loud voice cut through the hall. Enough of this charade. Lord Kael stepped forward, his crystalline body blazing like sharpened steel under the chamber lights. His voice echoed with fury. The princess binds herself to a human, a creature not of our world. She weakens us before the galaxy. I will not stand by while our throne is corrupted. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Nobles flared with confusion, anger, or fear. The visiting alien delegates whispered among themselves, their translators buzzing rapidly. Serenia raised her hand, her voice calm but firm. Kael, you dishonor this gathering. You defy the will of the court. Kael's light flared brighter. No, princess. I reveal the truth. At his signal, several guards turned their weapons outward. Crystal-tipped spears glowed with energy as they aimed at Serenia and Marcus. The room erupted into chaos, delegates shouting, nobles flashing their colors in alarm. Marcus's instincts kicked in. He stepped in front of Serenia, though he had no weapon, no shield. His voice rang out. Everyone stay calm. Don't give him what he wants. But Kael only smiled coldly. See how the human hides behind her? Is this your chosen leader? A fragile creature who cannot even defend himself? Serenia stepped forward beside Marcus. Her voice cut sharply through the noise. I do not need him to defend me, Kael. We defend each other. The coup had begun. Kael's loyalists surged forward, weapons raised. The chamber split into chaos. Loyal guards clashing with traitors, flashes of crystal energy lighting the air. Marcus pulled Serenia behind a pillar as a blast scorched the ground where they had stood. His heart pounded, but his mind sharpened. We can't outfight them, he said quickly. They've planned this too well. We need another way. Serenia's colors flickered, determination shining through. Then speak your plan, human. I will follow. Marcus glanced around the chamber. The delegates were scattering in fear, but they were also watching. If Serenia fell here, the galaxy would see her as weak. If Marcus failed, humanity would be marked as reckless. We need to expose Kael, Marcus said. Show everyone this is a power grab, not strength. If we can hold long enough and turn the court against him, he loses. Serenia nodded. Then we fight with words and actions together. They moved quickly. Marcus grabbed a fallen guard's spear, not elegant but enough to block and deflect. Serenia stepped beside him, her body glowing with a commanding brilliance. Together they pushed through the chaos toward the center platform. Kale spotted them and shouted, "Seize them!" 2 traitor guards charged. Marcus blocked the first strike with the spear, the force jarring his arms. He stumbled, but years of training and survival kept him moving. He twisted the weapon, knocking the guard off balance, while Serenia raised her hand and unleashed a pulse of crystalline light that sent the second guard crashing back. "Not bad for a fragile creature," Marcus muttered. Panting, Serenia's lips curved faintly. "Not bad for a beginner." They reached the center platform. Serenia raised her voice, amplified by the crystal walls themselves. "People of Vaerith, see Kale's treachery. He uses fear of the human to mask his own hunger for power. Will you let him destroy our honor?" Her voice rang clear, echoing through the chamber. Some nobles paused, their colors flickering uncertainly. Even some guards hesitated. Kale roared, his body blazing with violent white light. "Lies, she is blinded by the human's trickery." This is the end of her rule. He leapt onto the platform, weapon in hand, towering over them. His strikes were powerful, each blow sending vibrations through the crystal floor. Marcus blocked desperately, his arms aching from the force. "Serenia," Marcus shouted. "We need to end this fast." She nodded. Then together, Marcus dropped low, sweeping his spear to force Kale back a step. In that moment, Serenia unleashed a surge of radiant energy, her entire body glowing like a star. The light struck Kale, forcing him to stumble, his colors shattering into fragments of dull gray. Marcus used the opening. With a burst of human stubbornness, he drove the butt of the spear against Kale's weapon, knocking it free. The weapon clattered across the floor. Kale fell to one knee, his body flickering with broken light. Serenia's voice cut through the silence. "This is the true weakness, not the human, but your ambition. You sought to divide us, but we are stronger together." The chamber filled with murmurs. Nobles shifted in color, some bright with agreement, others dim with shame. The visiting delegates, who had watched the battle unfold, leaned forward with keen interest. Kale tried to rise, but loyal guards surrounded him now. His coup had failed. When the dust settled, the chamber was quiet again. The banners of light still shimmered, but now they felt different, symbols of survival rather than ceremony. Serenia stood tall at the platform's center, Marcus beside her. Together they faced the court and the delegates. "Let it be known," Serenia declared, "that Vaerith does not bow to ambition. We stand with honor, and we stand with allies who show courage no matter their world." Her gaze shifted briefly to Marcus. For a moment their eyes met, and Marcus felt a strange weight lift from his chest. He had stumbled into this by accident, but now he was part of something larger, something real. The delegates applauded, their voices echoing in approval. Some of the Varian nobles flashed bright colors of agreement. Even those who had doubted now saw the truth. Marcus lowered the spear slowly, his arms aching. He let out a breath. "Well," he muttered softly. That was one way to make a first impression. Serenia's lips curved in a faint smile. It was more than an impression. It was a beginning. That night the palace was quieter. The traitors were imprisoned, Kale stripped of his titles. For the first time since Marcus's careless joke, there was a sense of calm. Marcus stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. The alien sky shimmered with shifting colors, and for once, he allowed himself to breathe deeply. Serenia joined him, her crystalline form glowing softly in the starlight. "You fought well," she said. Marcus laughed lightly. "I nearly got crushed. But thanks. Couldn't have done it without you." She tilted her head. "That is the point. Alone we would have fallen. Together we stood. Do you understand now why I accepted your words?" Marcus looked at her carefully. "Because words can become more than words. They can become truth." Serenia's colors glowed warmly. "Exactly." For the first time, Marcus did not feel trapped by the vow. He felt part of it, not as a mistake, but as a choice he was beginning to accept. And as he gazed at the alien city below, he realized that what had started as a careless joke had turned into the trial that proved both of them stronger than they had ever imagined. The city of Vaerith shimmered under the light of 3 moons. The air was calm again, though everyone knew it was the calm that came after a storm. The coup was broken, Lord Kale imprisoned, and Serenia's rule secured. Yet for Marcus, the night felt heavier than victory. He leaned against the balcony rail of the royal palace, watching the alien city stretch into the horizon. Tall crystalline towers glowed faintly, their surfaces reflecting the moons. It looked peaceful, but Marcus knew that scars remained. Trust had been shaken. Fear had been planted, and he was at the center of it all. Behind him, soft footsteps approached. Serenia appeared, her crystalline form glowing in soft shades of violet and gold. She stood silently for a moment beside him, gazing at the same horizon. "You are troubled," she said quietly. Marcus exhaled slowly. "I just keep thinking about what happened. Kyle nearly tore everything apart, and I'm the reason he had a weapon to use against you. If I hadn't made that stupid joke..." Serenia raised her hand, her light flickering firmly. "No, do not chain yourself to guilt." "Your words may have been careless, yes, but what matters is what followed. You stood when it mattered. You chose to fight beside me even when you could have fled." Marcus gave a short, tired laugh. "That's kind of a habit with humans. We stick around even when running might be smarter." Serenia tilted her head slightly. "Perhaps that is why you are stronger than you know." The following day, the great court assembled again. This time there was no chaos, no shouting, no weapons drawn. Delegates from across the galaxy sat in silence, waiting to hear the decisions of Vayrith's princess and the human who now stood at her side. Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his ceremonial attire. He still wasn't used to the eyes of so many alien leaders fixed on him. Serenia, however, stood tall and unshaken, her presence commanding as always. She began. "Yesterday, treachery attempted to divide us. It failed. But we cannot ignore the fear that allowed it to grow. Some of you doubt my choice to accept the vow of a human. Some of you believe it weakens us. Today I answer those doubts." She extended her hand slightly, and Marcus, after only a moment's hesitation, stepped forward to stand beside her. "Strength," Serenia continued, her voice echoing through the chamber, "is not found in isolation. Strength is found when we trust beyond borders. When we see not difference but possibility." Marcus proved this. He is no Varian, yet he risked his life not only for me but for all of us. That is strength. That is loyalty. That is why I accepted his vow. The chamber stirred with whispers. Some delegates nodded in agreement. Others exchanged uncertain looks. Marcus could feel the weight of their judgment pressing down on him. He cleared his throat nervously, then spoke. "Look, I know I'm not supposed to be here. I know I'm just some human who said something dumb. But when Kale attacked, I didn't think about being human. I didn't think about titles or species. I just thought about the person beside me. Serenia isn't weaker because of me. If anything, she made me stronger. Maybe that's the point. We make each other stronger." His words were plain, simple, and far less elegant than Serenia's. But somehow they carried weight. Many delegates leaned forward, their eyes narrowing in thought. One alien leader, tall and feathered, stood. "If humans can form such bonds, then perhaps they are not as reckless as we feared." "Perhaps they are." "Worth watching." Another, with scaled skin shimmering in green hues, added, "Worth watching, yes, but also worth respecting." Slowly the mood shifted. Doubt did not vanish completely, but suspicion gave way to consideration. The summit continued, but now the talks were calmer, more open. And Marcus realized something. Humanity had just gained its first foothold in galactic politics, not through war, not through conquest, but through trust. That night, the palace held a celebration. Music filled the halls, played on instruments of crystal that shimmered with every note. Lights danced across the walls, weaving patterns of color. Nobles and delegates mingled, their earlier fear softened into cautious optimism. Marcus, however, found himself drifting away from the crowd. He wandered into one of the palace gardens where glowing plants illuminated the paths. The air smelled faintly of minerals and blossoms he couldn't name. Serenia joined him again, her presence quiet but steady. "You avoid the celebration," she said. Marcus shrugged. "Never really been good at parties. Besides, I'm not sure everyone in there is ready to toast to me." Her colors flickered in soft amusement. "Perhaps not. But they will remember today, and in time memory becomes respect." Marcus hesitated, then looked at her carefully. "Serenia, what happens now? I mean, we said those words, we stood together, and everyone thinks we're bound. Do you actually want this, or was it just politics?" Serenia was silent for a long moment. The light within her body shifted slowly like the glow of a calm flame. "When you first spoke," she said softly, "I accepted without hesitation. Not because of politics, not because of strategy, but because I saw something in you, a spark, a willingness to face what others fear. I did not know if it would grow. But now, after all that has passed, I know. Marcus felt his chest tighten. And what do you know? Her gaze held his firmly, her voice steady. That words can become more than words. That vows can become truth. And that perhaps a human and a Varian can build something greater than either could alone. Marcus looked away for a moment, his throat dry. He had joked once without meaning it. Now, standing in this alien garden, he realized it had become the most serious promise of his life. He let out a shaky laugh. Guess I'd better stop joking around, huh? Serena's lips curved faintly. Perhaps. Or perhaps your humor is part of why I chose you. In the days that followed, the summit concluded with agreements stronger than any before. Vareth pledged to open trade and cooperation with humanity. In return, humanity offered knowledge, technology, and partnership. Whispers spread across the galaxy of the human who had stood beside an alien princess, of the vow that had changed everything. Some mocked, some doubted, but many listened. And for the first time, humanity's name was spoken not as an afterthought, but as a potential equal. As Marcus prepared to leave the palace one morning, Serena met him in the grand hall. "You are returning to your people," she said. He nodded slowly. "For now. They need to hear what happened here. They need to be ready for what comes next." She stepped closer, her light glowing warmly. "And you will return?" Marcus gave a small smile. "You'd make a fine wife, remember? Guess I should keep my word." Serena's colors flared in a way he had learned to read, not just as light but as emotion. "Yes," she said softly. "Keep your word, and I will keep mine." As Marcus boarded the shuttle that would take him back to human space, he looked out at the Crystal City one last time. He remembered the moment he had joked, the chaos that followed, and the trial that had tested them both. Now it no longer felt like a joke. It felt like the start of something vast, an alliance, a partnership, maybe even something deeper. And as the engines roared to life, Marcus thought to himself, sometimes, the words we speak carelessly are the ones that change everything. And this time, humanity's words had opened the stars.